Hello guys! Today I want to talk about SMITE, Battleground of the Gods. Now SMITE was probably one of my favorite games I ever played. The sense of community, the game was so innovative, right? It was 10 years ahead. The action combat, the social system in terms of voice lines were so ahead. And we actually didn't really have any MOBA competition on the market. So how is the game not doing well anymore? I know right now currently, a lot of gaming games and gaming is not that popular, people moved on and so on and so on. And there is a big open niche for MMORPG and MOBA games because let's face it, most gaming studios are actually outdated. So if you wanna learn how the gaming market works and why most of these studios are outdated, SMITE is a really good example to talk about. And at the end of the day, it comes down to the mismanagement of the game and the community itself. And even though I love this game so much, I have been playing it for 10 years, it is actually really hard to suggest this game to a new players, because it just feels like a waste of energy. And instead of fixing all the core issues we had for years, all the company is doing, all the Hi-Rez is doing is making new skins to make money, and all they do is questionable balance. And they make a new conquest map every few months, and that's pretty much it. Commendation rewards, achievement points reward, clan wars, ranked rewards. There is so many things you can do to make people play the game more fun game modes, free chests for getting wins. This should be already in the game, and this is the problem with SMITE. SMITE 7 years ago had more content than it does today. How is that even possible? They removed Clash, they removed Siege, they removed Ranked Arena, right?
Which makes it more balanced. I'm really sad that they don't just make it an actual mode. I don't know why they don't. Like, consistent with the match of the day. Dude, what confuses me more than anything is the fact that they don't throw in the old adventures, at least some of them, into, match of the day. Like Medusa's deathmatch, that shit was so much fun. It was actually so much fun.
They removed many good support items which were actually very important in Arena, for example, when you usually have 3 magicals like Runic Shield and Voidstone. They nerfed Witchblade, they removed Boomba Mask. So the game actually is not that fun anymore. The game 7 years ago was more fun and it had more content than it does today. How is this even possible? Because again, they have this wrong, directive that they think that removing fun game modes or only focusing on conquest will somehow make their game more popular. It is simply outdated MOBA mentalities that a lot of these studios have. The reality is that most of these studios are simply outdated and they don't focus on the correct things. They still think that only Dota or Conquest is a competitive game mode, even though it's a 20-year-old game mode that has its own issues and people just got simply bored of it, just like with Battle Royale games, right? I think there is so much untapped potential. And I think Hi-Rez can still do things right, because we still don't have any good MOBA competition on the market currently, even though we get a good MMORPG game, Arcade, in 1 week. Now, what is SMITE missing, right? Actual tournaments, right? Biggest problem of SMITE community is the divided community, divided ranked community. Every game Hi-Rez Studio makes has divided community, not just in terms of game modes, but also in terms of, EU versus North America players, PC versus console players. But if you just compare some of the Hi-Rez games, for example, we have Arena versus Conquest players, we have Strikeout versus Domination players, we have Arena versus Conquest players in SMITE, we have Strikeout versus Domination players in Rogue Company, and we have Siege versus Deathmatch players in Paladins, and these are their most popular games. And as you can see, all these games have divided ranked community. They only give ranked functionality, leaderboard and rewards to, to one type of players, which actually divides the community a lot. We have, people have been asking for, you know, a new arena map, for a simple ranked leaderboard and some rewards like skins for last 7 years, and Harris still don't care. We still don't have clan wars. We still don't have UI that actually has character, you know, Battleground of the gods. I seen that Harris Studio actually put it in. They are searching for new UI designers, which is a good step forward, I think. The game currently really looks a bit cheap. It doesn't really has its own character, you know, Battlegrounds of the gods, why we love this game. This game was all about Battleground of the gods, best of the best clashing, tournaments, competitive scene, right? This is why people love esports, this is why people love UFC, you know, they wanna see best of the best. But currently the issue with pro scene is that, you know, we don't have actual tournaments. People literally got handpicked, and those people that get into SPL, only those guys have any chance to also make it as a content creator, which is another totally huge issue, right? They think that removing, you know, this is the problem with Harris, you know. I think it was just a bit of a wrong mentality. I think you know, there was you know, good intentions, but they didn't do things correctly, right? There are two huge issues when it comes to MOBA studios. They only cater to Conquest or Dota players, and they think that removing fun game modes will somehow bring in more players, right? Because they think they will somehow fix divided community. But no, you have to, you know, these game modes attract more players. And you don't even need to divide community. All you do is, you know, add these old fun game modes back into the match of the day rotation. So every week you have a new fun game mode in the rotation. You already made those maps. Why not use the assets you already have, right? And you're gonna attract so many new players to the game, because this will be also a good way for content creators to make the game more popular on social media, right? Because now we're living in the age of social media where content creators are those who decide which game gets popular. And we have so many good fun old game modes: Domination, Old Jaws, Adventures, Smite Card, 3 vs 3 vs 3, right? Why not, you know? And League of Legends also had the same issue. Or Dota, they only focus on Dota, right? They only focus on Conquest. Even though lately League of Legends actually added a new game mode, which actually brought a lot of attention and new players back to the game. Now there is also another issue with Smite. You know, voice lines is one of the most fun thing about Smite, right? Voice lines is one of the most innovative social system. Voice lines, or you have you know, voice, just like BattleBit, you know, when you have voice chat, right? Which is also really good. But the problem in Smite is that voice lines and ability effects are on the same sound parameter. So if you wanna hear voice lines, you're gonna get blasted by the ability effects, which is actually a huge issue for content creators. We need more initiative to actually play the game. You know, skins to earn by playing ranked, right? You could add few cool skins in Conquest or Arena for playing ranked, right? You know, players have been asking for ranked Arena, a new map for last 7 years. Why are you not catering to them? Arena would be easily the most popular game mode in Smite if Harris won't force players that wanna be ranked into Conquest, right? And Conquest also has its own issues, like snowballing and abusing meta items to get ahead and so on and so on. And some people just don't like to farm for 30 minutes, right? Even though I found both very fun, Arena and Conquest, right? I think they are both different, and you can learn a lot from both. And if you consider yourself to be a good MOBA or a Smite player, you need to be good at both, right? Because they both teach different things. Conquest is about rotations, efficient farming, ganks, calls, and Arena is more about, you know, counter building, resetting fights often, team fights, and so on and so on. Less hitting with both, and, you know, tower push and so on and so on. Now, also a really good example, for example, is Smite Reddit. Smite Reddit is a typical example how you can mismanage the community, right? We have 6 Smite subreddits instead of 1 with flares. We have no memes allowed, which actually makes for so much discussion. This sub is only alive when memes are allowed, right? because those memes make a lot of discussion. Also the community content, like videos, you could easily allow videos and, you know, have like limit, you know, one video per, you know, 2-3 days or something like that, right? All you have to do as a mod is remove spam. Don't censor people, you know, that, you know, this has been a huge issue. Censorship has been a huge issue in this community. A lot of people who really love this game have been banned in a lot of this community, so they cannot really make discussion, they cannot share the no content, and it's already so hard to get any views as a, you know, SMITE content creator, because only those guys who get to SPL, only those guys get any views, because people think if you play at SPL you're one of the best, right? And a lot of these guys made their careers like that. Weekend, Finokane, Zepme, Barracuda, Jake Paul, Hadix, and so on and so on. And this was always a huge issue, so how can you then not say that SPL is not just a huge business, right? Which actually cheapens everything we do and why we love this game. So let's see, where we stay. Yeah, more initiative to actually play the game, right? Commendation rewards, achievement points reward, clan wars, ranked rewards. There is so many things you can do to make people play the game more fun game modes, free chests for getting wins. This should be already in the game, and this is the problem with SMITE. SMITE 7 years ago had more content than it does today. How is that even possible? They removed Clash, they removed Siege, they removed Ranked Arena, right? They removed many good support items which were actually very important in Arena, for example, when you usually have 3 magicals like Rune Shield and Voidstone. They nerfed Witchblade, they removed Boomba Mask, so the game actually is not that fun anymore. The game 7 years ago was more fun and it had more content than it does today. How is this even possible? Because again, they have this wrong, you know, directive that they think that removing fun game modes or only focusing on conquest will somehow make their game more popular. It is simply outdated MOBA mentalities that a lot of these studios have. Good. And it's okay to make mistakes, but you have to do things differently, right? If you see your game is not doing well, why not do things differently? Just try, man, just try. You already have everything in place. You just have to do things right. You have to organize fun tournaments, you have to make better UI, add all fun game modes back, give arena fans a new map, ranked leaderboard and rewards, and you are pretty much golden. And just fix the SPL scene, stop paying those players salaries, just make tournaments. That's what people wanna see, and this is how you naturally get viewership and sponsorship. Just like UFC, even though UFC is one of the biggest organizations in the world, they're losing viewers. And why is that? Because they don't make actual tournaments, there is no true competition, every fight is staged. And when people start to realize this, the UFC is losing credibility, and has been losing credibility for years now, in my opinion. Especially with some, you know, weight bullies and stage fights and so many problems, you know. The game has so much potential, but clearly the studio lacks any meaningful talent that actually know how to direct the game and focus on the right things. You know, after 7 years of asking, we still don't have a single updated arena map. SMITE Pro League is still a big joke, censorship is still an issue. So many players that actually care about this game never really got hurt. You know, arena players never got hurt, console players never had a chance at Pro League, international players never had a chance, EU, the biggest region, never had a chance, right? It's SMITE Pro League was always geared toward North America conquest players, which only represents 20 to 30% of SMITE players, you know. I mean, how can you possibly have such a good game on your hands, so much potential, and you not make something out of it? That's what I don't understand. And even when we had zero competition on the MOBA market for years now, But Kare still didn't manage to do anything with this game. They drastically need to make changes before even the studio might not have a future anymore. I heard they have a new game in making, but if they're gonna have the same issues again with divided ranked community, you know, there is so many things you can do, right? There's so many things you can do in this game, and it's just sad watching so much potential dying, you know? Maybe I'm just projecting from myself here, but I really love this game. I have been playing Smite for 10 years, and I always, you know, I made 700-800 videos for Smite, but it's really hard to suggest the Smite to newer players because it's so mismanaged that it feels just like a waste of energy, you know?